Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuckie Thomas, the ADHD screenwriter. Today's video, we're going to talk about how to adapt a short film into a feature film. Hey and welcome back to the channel. Again, I am Chuckie Thomas, the ADHD screenwriter. If this is your first time here, please like and subscribe because we want you back and watching all our great videos. We have a lot of cool stuff coming. And if you're a returning visitor, you may have noticed our schedule's been a little changed recently. And that's because we moved. And maybe these videos here will help you guess where we moved to.
Did all of you babies see the imps?
Look how spectacular the Spanish moss is on this tree.
Your boy. Your boy. I know, I'll play it later.
Partner Communities Agreement between Limerick and Savannah. Mayor Johnson signed it and went over to Limerick to do that.
That's right, we moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Just kidding, it's Savannah, beautiful city of Savannah, and we love being here, and hopefully we're going to see some great footage from it soon. Anyway, this video is all about turning a short film into a feature film. Now, maybe you have a great short film and you thought, oh, it's time for a feature. This thing's cooking, everybody loves it, I'm going to write a feature. Now, there's a lot to consider when doing so, but I'm going to give you the top 5 things I think you should keep in mind, especially if you have ADHD like me. Let's get to it. The first tip has to be the simple fact that writing a short film and writing a feature film are just two completely different animals. The short film took, I don't know, a few days, a few weeks maybe. Maybe you had it cooking for a few months and then you wrote it. Got 5-10 pages, sure. It was tough and you did it, and I'm obviously very proud of you. Now, turning that into a feature film is a different thing altogether, because all of a sudden you've got 90 to 100 pages, maybe 120 pages if you have some sweeping epic. I don't recommend that, by the way. Stick to 90 to 100 pages. But either way, whatever the page count, you've got a lot of work to do. And it's going to take a long time. It's not going to be a few days or a few weeks. It will be a few months probably, maybe even a few years. If this is your first time, there's a lot to keep track of. Another point here is feature films are going to be way more complex than a short film. So your short film maybe consisted of like a theme, like a character. You had like a theme of romance through the ages or the horrors of public bathrooms or something.
You're not in the least bit curious as to what I have to say.
I'm just not into conversations with random dudes hiding out in bathroom stalls.
Something very specific you wanted to say in like 5-10 pages. A feature film, you've got more characters, you've got more settings, you've got more drama, you've got more action potentially, and that kind of thing to think about, explosions, whatever. It's just going to be more complex, and there's a lot to keep track of. And if you have ADHD, that might be an issue, keeping all this in your head and notebooks and staying organized and that kind of stuff. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying keep it in mind when you start, otherwise you might be surprised and drop off, which you do not want to do. Now, you may be tempted to take exactly what happened in your short film and translate it directly into the feature film, like it's just like a scene out of the feature film, right? And I don't really recommend this. The spirit of the short film is what's important. Now, I've talked in a previous video about not taking a scene from your feature film and shooting it as a short film to submit to like festivals and stuff, and this is kind of the same idea, that it just doesn't necessarily translate. A lot of horror films actually do this. Smile, for example. The opening scene from the feature is directly from the short film, if I recall correctly. It's the scene in the therapist's office, and that's pretty much what happened in the short film. Saw famously does this too. The original short film is more or less translated into the feature, but a lot of the times it just doesn't work and it doesn't make sense because, again, these are two different animals. For example, I wrote a film called Situations. If you saw the movie Rental Family that came out recently, it was basically that. It was people hiring actors to be like their friends or whatever. I'm not saying they stole it or anything. I'm just saying, I wrote it first, so whatever. But I wrote a short version of that. It was completely different. It was a silent film. It was in black and white.
I've been accused of being pretentious my whole life, rightfully so. I always encourage young people to be pretentious in a way, because if you do it with a sense of humor, if you have a sense of humor about yourself, it means you're aspiring to something.
And it had the characters in a completely different situation. They were being hired by I think it was like a wedding planner or something, and things went crazy or something. The feature had none of that. It just didn't work in the feature, so they were just two separate things. But the spirit of the film was the same, and that's what's important. So take what you love about your short and what other people love about your short and put that into the feature, not necessarily the content. I mentioned this earlier, but just be prepared for your feature film to be way more complex than your short film. Let's run through an example real quick. Let's say your short film is about a son meeting up with his long-lost father at a minute, and it's about them. It seems like running away from your problems. Running from your problems. Maybe that's the title of the film. Now, unless you want to remake The Long Walk,
hey man, you don't look good.
I need some chili beans.
Okay. Really?
Why, do you have some?
You mean like these?
Yeah.
you have to do other stuff in the feature film rather than just them running the whole time, right? I mean, it could be done, but again, it's got to be more complex. Now, in the short film, maybe you focused on them getting ready for the race and a little bit of the race or something, and they don't actually finish, you know, because that's the theme of the short film. Like, oh, you're never going to be able to run away from your problems. You have to face them or something like that. The feature film, again, it's got to be way more complex. So what were they doing before the race? What are they going to do after the race? Is their relationship going to heal or not? What's going on during the race with other characters? Maybe the mom is involved or some other siblings. Maybe the son is calling people on the phone or something. Maybe they're going to go to a diner afterwards. Maybe it's a whole series of races. This is what I mean. This is all the stuff you have to think about when you're writing this feature film versus a short film, which really focuses on a few things. Now, my recommendation here is to, again, focus on what worked, but really expand the world. Like, really get into it. Like, you know, the world of this marathon, for example. You know, do these people race all the time? Are they runners? Maybe the son's not a racer, and this is like his first marathon, and he's like, oh, my dad's here that I haven't seen in 30 years or something.
Whoa, hey, finally got those cigarettes. Picked you up some Pokemon cards. I know you like those. So when's your next Little League game? Oh, you're 23.
There's just a lot to consider. Write all this stuff down, expand the world, keep track of all these notes and everything, because they might come up later, and all this complexity is just going to be felt in the film. It's going to be a much richer movie in the end. Bouncing off that idea, your world of your film is going to have to expand, and I don't just mean the script itself. Now, earlier I talked about Saw, and this is a great example. Both the theme for the short and the feature is appreciate what you have, or you might lose it in a very violent way, because Jigsaw is killing all these people.
Just a moment, I'm very sorry. What?
I want to play a game.
Okay, well, I want to go home on time, so...
Your computer has been infected with a pornographic virus.
But he's testing them to see if they have what it takes to live. Now, consider the type of people who live in a broken world like this. And this is what the filmmakers did. They took the basics from the short and they said, who possibly could live in a world like this? And it's a bunch of really broken people, shells of people who are just trying to get by. Even the detective in the story is just a broken shell of a person. You expect him to save the day. Whoopsie daisy, that doesn't happen. But that's the kind of people who live there. And that's the kind of thing that you're going to have to think about when you're crafting your story. Now, they're not all going to be, you know, broken shells of people in every film. Yours might be a super happy, fun rom-com or something. But just consider who lives there, not just the main characters, but side characters, extras. That helps you expand the world for little scenes like that where they go into a shop and there's a fun person there. Yay, because everybody's happy in this town. Doing this simple kind of work is going to enrich your film so much. Not all of this is going to appear on screen, but that's fine. It's just going to make a much better script. Lastly, if you did make a short film and people loved it, maybe you submitted it to festivals or your friends liked it or something, it's important to keep the essence of that short film. So let's talk about earlier. The essence of the short film is what's important when you're going into your feature film. People liked it for a reason, and you should keep that in mind and in your heart. Going back to the example of that race marathon son-dad relationship thing, maybe the reason they like that one is all the visual metaphors you put in there, like feet pounding the pavement, sweat, flying everywhere, the crowd screaming, blood on the shirt because sometimes they'll get, rubbing their nipples and stuff.
Come on, watch the nipples, Kevin. Back off me.
It starts bleeding and they're like, whoa, this is really intense, right? Like, it's crazy, but that's what people really glommed onto. You don't want to lose that. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you turn your feature film into one 90-minute long visual metaphor for racing, which that actually might be interesting anyway. But that doesn't mean you have to do that, and you probably shouldn't do that because it sounds crazy. The essence of your film is what's important. And if you have to ask again, like, why exactly did you guys like this so much? It doesn't hurt to ask. People love to talk about what they liked and don't like, and maybe you could even set up an online quiz or something for people to fill out. Like, it's anonymous that way, so they don't have to hurt your feelings when they say, I didn't really like the beginning or whatever. Just make it anonymous, and that way you can get some honest feedback. But no matter what it is, make sure you have that strong core. Like, again, I talk about Saw again. The reason that short film worked wasn't because it was crazy and messed up and bloody and gory. It's because it had a really strong core in its message that they took to the feature film. Otherwise, we might not be talking about those films to this day, and we want to be talking about your film next. And that's it. Hopefully those tips helped you to turn your short film into a feature film, which you should absolutely do. And you should tell me down in the comments when you do it, and I want to hear all about it. Of course, like and subscribe so you can come back. We're almost to 150 subscribers, and we're racing to 200. So you definitely want to be one of those people and come back for more videos because we have lots of cool stuff. And of course, as always, I have to tell you, if you have ADHD or whatever and you're disassociating, cut it out. You got that short film, it needs to be a feature film, and that means you need to get started writing. Go for it. See you next time.